Hey, I'm Richard Miller with Goldie May, and this is the live genealogy research series. Watch as James Tanner and I, along with invited guests, work through a genealogy problem with no script and no agenda. Maybe you'll learn from the big strategy, maybe you'll learn from the small features and the tools, or maybe you'll just see a better way to do it and you can leave a comment so we can all learn. I hope you find this really helpful. Now, here is the research. Okay, James, I have another case to look at today. This is Leonard James Wilson, an ancestor of mine. And I think the records going generation by generation back to him are pretty solid, but it's his father and back that I'd want to look at with you today. So I thought I'd just tell you what I have so far, get your second opinion on all this, and we can go from there. So there is a death record for Leonard J. Wilson that says his father's Hugh Wilson. I think there are other records too. But Hugh Wilson has a more interesting trajectory of his life, let's say. On the subway map, it shows him being born in New York, but then living in Ontario, Canada. And what I know about that is that he was living in Sharon, and that is where the Children of Peace lived, which is I guess a break off of the Quakers. And so I think his father must have joined that church, and he moved to Ontario, Canada. And then eventually he makes his way back to Illinois and then Iowa. And then one of the really interesting things is, his first wife dies, and maybe, I think so, he's back in Ontario, Canada, and he gets married again. So you have these kind of brief second marriage back in Ontario, Canada, possibly to someone kind of related to his first wife. And then maybe shows up in the 1881 census. And then I'm not sure what happens there, but then back in Iowa with his son until he dies. So, it's possible this Hugh Wilson is really someone else, but I have reason to believe, since he lived there earlier in his life, that he actually did go back and got remarried there. So maybe I'll just leave it there for you and tell me what you would like to see to kind of get familiar with the case, and we'll just kind of look
Okay, well, why don't you put up the children on the same map here, on the subway map?
Okay, so Hugh's children. Okay, see, I am showing the child births, but do you want to see the separate lines as well?
Yeah, well, their births are they on there? So they're on there already.
Yeah, they're on there already. Yep.
Okay.
So they are, so you get a couple of like these ones: birth of John, birth of Leonard James, birth of Catherine. And really that's, just standardized differently.
Yeah, it's the same place.
So
and then on down,
the 4 children.
Just 4.
That I think it's just the 4. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's 5. Maybe I'm missing one right there. Yeah, there's the 5. Yep. Okay, so all in Canada, all the children born in Canada.
Okay, so what we're trying to determine is his father's who his father was for sure.
Yeah. That's right. We know it's a Hugh Wilson, but is it this Hugh Wilson? Is this the
okay? Right? Let's look at. This is the father, Hugh Wilson, or
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh, this is William W. Wilson. Okay, let's go look down at Hugh Wilson. What do you have for children for him? Oh, this is Hugh Wilson.
Oh, this is the father. Yeah, this is the father. So we, and I guess really I do feel pretty good about Hugh being connected to Leonard, the son, because in the like late censuses in Iowa, he's living with his son. So you get Leonard and Hugh together. Hugh's in his 70s or 80s, and they're living together. So it's probably this one right here, 1885 Iowa census. So yeah, here's Leonard.
Oh, so he's 87.
Hugh's 87, living with his son and son's family. So okay, that's a pretty good connection. Yeah, back to
So when did Leonard die?
Leonard died in. Let's go there to Leonard, 1921. So I could put him on the map too here.
Yeah, see, they're pretty consistent. Well, the consistency is helpful because can we look down the list of children? You have like 16 kids for William.
Yes. Okay. This becomes the grandfather. And this is one I I've shown before in subway map demos where I've said, this is, all over the place. This is the one where, born in England, and then these children are in New York, New Jersey, Canada. And so, yeah. And then.
No, all those children are not part of that family.
Yeah.
Those aren't even that, given the time period, 1765. One of the things that's helpful to know at this point is, here's a good place to look. Go up and get a new tab.
Okay.
And put construction of the King's Highway.
King's Highway?
And no, not that one. Okay, say historical. King's Highway.
King's Historical. Okay.
1650 to 1735.
Okay.
And that's the first road, north-south road in what's now the United States.
Okay.
And so the closer you get, maybe I've told this before, but for example, when the United States was being formed, the national capital was in Annapolis, Maryland, at the State House. Well, when they gathered for the Constitutional Convention, that's where they began, and then they moved it to Philadelphia later. But Thomas Jefferson, who lives down in the center part of Virginia, took him 2 weeks by road to get to Annapolis because of the mud and the difficulty in traveling.
Wow.
That's 1776 or
that puts it in perspective.
Yeah. In the late 1700s. And the King's Highway, although it was technically in existence, was really just a connection of a bunch of dirt roads that ran all the way, could have theoretically run all the way down the coast.
I see. Okay.
And so the closer you get to the mid 1700s to that period of time, chances are that it just wasn't possible to move that far.
Okay.
Plus the fact, the time involved, you can imagine, okay, let's say you knew you were going to travel from, say, Boston to New York. It could take a week or 2 weeks. You've got to have food. You've got to have places to stay. You've got to have, water. You've got to have all sorts of things. And so it wasn't just something like you jumped in your car and drove down the road to go visit somebody.
Yeah. Okay. That puts it in perspective.
It was always a major thing to move. And they say roughly, well, that's because it was laid out from that period, but it wasn't built.
Okay. All right.
They didn't have road graders. They didn't have construction equipment. All they had was horses and what they called a scraper, but it was sort of a piece of metal that they dragged behind their harnesses horses. And so just from a practical reality, you have to sort of shrink down any of this kind of movement. You can't, like the one down there in Ontario, Canada, and then it's in the United Kingdom.
Just unlikely beyond. Yeah.
I mean, that's not going to happen because it took 2 to 3 months to cross the ocean.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, and this Hugh Wilson, that's kind of one of the outliers, is my line. And so, very likely this is not, he's not with his father in this case.
Yeah, I would have to see. So when it say birth child, what do you have for Hugh Wilson that shows his birth? Let's look for
that.
Let's look at his. He has 17 sources. Let's look at those sources. That would be a good place to start.
Okay, so is that a good view of where you see?
Yeah, I'm just going to go down through. Well, you got Hugh Wilson and Leonard's. That's to Leonard, but Hugh Wilson for his. Okay, am I getting confused here? Because Hugh Wilson who's the father? The one that's. Is this this is the one, the New York one. Who's the father we just were looking at?
That was William. So
that's William.
Yeah, William's the zigzaggy one.
And then, William's the one that I.
So it's Hugh to William, I guess, is the tenuous relationship.
Yeah, that's the one that's not
Okay.
very enforceable.
Yeah.
Because between Hugh and his son Leonard, there is, because it looks like Leonard, I mean, Hugh's living in Leonard's home, home and at one point,
Yeah.
which is even a more indication than just all the records. They're more consistent also,
Okay.
obviously. Going back to Canada is not a surprise.
Okay.
He may have had family there, and that may have been like his last trip or something.
Okay.
And if you happen to get married up there, that's not impossible. We've got
Okay.
people around me who got married in that time period. I have one of the people, my friends, that's on his third or fourth wife. I can't ever remember which one. So
yeah, and it seems that's I think we did have a marriage record for him in Canada, and it was, yeah, I mean, it said he was getting married at age 82, and I think it said he's from the USA. So
Esther Doan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, from the United States. Doesn't say where he's from in the United States, but says he's a tailor, which is a connection to his occupation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're always going to look at the occupation. The one thing, though, I would go through. Let's just look at the family list there, because that's something
back here on
William.
On William. Okay.
The one with this.
Yep.
One with the 16 kids.
Okay.
So did he have more than one? Well, he didn't have more than one wife. Apparently, we don't see.
I think there's just one. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so where is he supposedly from? Let's.
So he's supposedly from England, and what I see the most of is this Buckinghamshire, Chalfont, St. Giles. You get a bunch of those, so there's some consistency in some of those children.
What's the first one over there on the left?
Nottingham.
Okay, let's do this. Pull up maps,
okay.
Google Maps, and let's put in Nottinghamshire, UK. Nottingham, UK. That's a town, but go to Shire. Yeah, it's got to be there. The next one down, yeah. Okay, so then go corrections too, and then go to what's the other one?
It was Buckinghamshire.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it's 107 miles, 126 miles one way, 107 miles. See, that's given the time period. What's the date? 1765.
Yeah. So even that one's suspect.
It can't be the same person. Here's another way to do that. That's helpful. Do you have a subscription to Find My Past?
Yep.
Okay. Why don't you pull up Find My Past?
Okay, here we are in Find My Past.
Okay, go to search up at the top.
Search.
Okay, now we're going to just put in some information. So we'll need to have his name up. The one born in England, supposedly. Okay, now look down below. 37,000 results. That's kind of on the lower end. If you took out William, you'd see how many Wilsons there are, which is another way of looking at it. See, that's kind of in the low, mid-range, low, kind of high in the low range. Let's call it that. If there were 1 million of them, that would be the difference. Now you go down to where it says world. It says where world. Click there and go to England, and that should cut it down a little bit. And then put in either one of the counties to start out with. Let's start with Nottingham. Yeah. Okay. 463. Put in a year of birth, more or less 2 years, we'll say.
So that was 1765.
That's over one more set of records.
Thank you. Okay. 72.
So, well, that's fine. Now let's look at those 72. Okay, what was his birth year? Do we have an estimate or
What
a
we have
year?
is 1765,
1765.
about, I
About.
guess. Yeah.
Okay. Then let's go back to
So,
find my past.
okay.
Look down and see if there's a birth. See at the top, if you go to the top, it'll say year of birth. And this will be the year of the last one will be the year of the record. So we're looking for something in 67. There's 1767 on that first page.
Okay. Do you want the year of the record?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
We'll look for
Okay.
1767 or 1765. There's a 67. Look at that.
Okay. William Wilson. Yep.
Okay, try
Nottinghamshire.
click on the little button. That'll give us his. No, okay. No, so we don't have somebody down for his father, do we?
We do, but also Hugh. We were dealing with the son Hugh, but now he has a father Hugh as well. So they're
Okay, Hugh.
from Ireland.
Now see, he's in Candiatrum. Not a
don't
chance.
Know if that's don't know if that's
not happening.
Where we get messy. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, there's a real question about this William Wilson person. What's the second one over there? Try that one. To Buckinghamshire.
Buckinghamshire. Back in the Find My Past search.
Yeah. Yeah. Just change the place to Buckinghamshire.
'21 results.
Any of them in the place? Look at the place again.
Chalfont, St. Giles.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if there's anything shows up. Try putting in that as the rest of the place. There. Well, there you go. Okay. There's 4 results.
2. Okay.
Let's look at that. 1766. Okay, so all we really have of him is a register year in the bishop's transcripts for the burial index. Let's try finding the same guy in what comes up if you click on Ancestry from Family Search. See, I use all 3 of these programs kind of conjointly. Whenever I'm working with anybody from England, I always try to check both back and forth between Family Search, Find My Past, and Ancestry, because they all have really good English records. And it's very likely that they start showing up different than you think. Now, here's one in Virginia. Died in Virginia. No.
Which that wouldn't be a fit.
Is that the one he's supposed to have died there? No, that's what couldn't have died. Oh, yeah. No, this is really messed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it really is. Yeah, that's what we're out to fix.
No editorial comment implied from that, but you're not okay. How many? There's 216,000 William Wilsons that they're finding.
Yeah. So no.
And by the way, you're going to find an interesting thing about Ancestry. Move one of those clicker guys over. Any one of them to exact.
Yeah. All right, they go pretty broad on everything, don't they?
Yeah, but if you move born in move it clear over to the exact, as far over as you can go.
Yeah, it doesn't even say apply.
Yeah. See, the interesting thing about that is sliders go over to exact, but only works about once out of 100 times, I think.
Okay.
Because once you try to get an exact date, then,
Yeah, and when we do this logo search too, I guess, I mean, Ancestry is searching for this person that's internally inconsistent. So
Mm-hmm.
it just,
It
yeah,
just it's picking up
picks up
everything.
everything, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the
So that's a
problem.
tough one. Okay.
Okay, so let's go back to the to Family Search and his to William W. Details. Yeah, we are on there. Okay, let's go down. I can't go down through the children from Hugh Wilson and Sarah Savage. That's the older one, the one bit behind, that's supposedly born and married in Ireland. And
Yeah, this would be the great grandfather, right? He would
yeah,
be this. He would be
and then Mary Wilson, where's she born? And that the three children. You've got three children there.
mm-hmm.
Just
These
click
would
on
be
them.
okay. Yeah, we could pull up the in there. So William in England, Mary
Yeah, but
no birthplace, and Phoebe no birthplace. Yeah, so these, I mean, it gets really messy
how
after. Yeah,
how did somebody who was Irish get over to having children in England in 1760s?
yeah,
I mean, it's not likely.
yeah. So really, Hugh's the last kind of solid person in the line, and then William W is where it just gets really messy. So
Yeah.
I think, when I look at this line, I kind of feel like there's several children born in this Chalfont St. Giles, Buckinghamshire,
Mm-hmm.
and so maybe that's the best thread to keep pulling on if I'm going to clean this up. It just figure that there's a William there, and then branch out in both directions.
Okay, so if he's the one and he's born and died in or Clear Cross in England, then what are the down things? New York, New Jersey? No,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, those would have to be taken out, right? Those just would be children that don't fit.
Yeah, those children don't fit at all. There's nothing that would. I'm sure that when you look at that, it'll just say that father's name was William. And
yeah, very common.
We already know there's plenty of William Wilsons out there.
Yeah, if I change it to this county view, then you see that difference too between his birth in Nottinghamshire and then these children born in Buckinghamshire. And that's, we already looked that up on Google Maps, but that's that 100+ mile move. And then even some of the other.
And then clear down at the bottom, is that a death date down there in 1840?
That is the last, it's another child. So
when he's 76 years old.
Is that right?
1841.
Yeah, 1841 when he's 76 years old. So,
and that's in Northampton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kent.
So you see I mean, you see the opportunity here to clean this all up.
Yeah, there's a major issue here with all of those children being born in different places. And I think if you put them all over on the map, you'd see that. And what you've done is show with the subway view that they're all over the map, and it's not. Mm-hmm. They're not even logical.
It's not,
Some of them may be to that family, but there's nothing that really connects this person directly to his son, which is William.
My ancestor is this Hugh W. And so, I guess if I naively look at my fan chart, then it looks like it's pretty full, but this is a case where I probably need to remove William W. as his father. And then I've got a gap there that I need to fill in. So,
let's see. 98. Somebody just found a name and stuck it in there at the date. Yeah. Without looking at the place, because if Hugh Wilson was born in New York, you've got to have a place for that in 1798 to get over to the United States, and that's that way far down.
Yeah. England here. Yeah. Okay. Well, that
but
gives me my work, I guess, to get through this.
It doesn't really wrap up or solve the issue of who was William W. Wilson and who was Hugh W. Wilson and all that. but you can start by not having all this extraneous information. They're giving you a more focused, because you really have the last person that you have any confidence in is this Hugh W. Wilson.
Yeah, that's right.
And it would be he died in Des Moines, Iowa, but did he own any property? Have we done any property searches for him? Or
I don't believe what do we have there? I think I have him living in Iowa and selling land to a son-in-law or something before that move back to Canada where he gets remarried, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so I think the other thing to look for would be a probate file in Iowa.
Okay, I can't remember if I've looked for that already. So that's a good follow-up.
Yeah, because that would help to establish who his children were. If he had a will, even if he didn't have a will, you can often see from this appraisement and sale who it is that buys the property.
Okay. Well, and then at a tactical level with the tree, are you one to, kind of leave these 16 children until you know where they go, or do you just cut them out knowing that they don't fit here and then let them be reattached somewhere else?
Well, I'm let's say on the conservative side. What I do is I do some research. If I still can't find anything that connects the two, and it just gets even more obvious, then I'm inclined just to cut them off and just say not a child in that family, because I don't want to have to do I mean, at that point, I don't think I'm related, so I have no reason to go do research on 16 people or 15 people left. So I would just let that go and see till someone else figures out that their child born in Kent was not part of this guy's family.
Okay. And then the location, kind of the information you mentioned about location, about it taking 2 weeks for Thomas Jefferson to travel in 1776, that kind of information about the speed of travel in that time period is grounds enough to say, hey, these members of the family are very far apart. They're not part of the same family. We'll just remove them. And that's maybe the reason statement you would put in the tree as you remove them.
Well, you just say that there's nothing that shows, other than sticking a child in there with a birth. There's nothing that shows that this guy came to America.
Okay, good.
Because he was born and married and died in England, and why would he have come to America? His wife's going to travel all over, clear across the ocean. They just have a baby and then go back to England.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah. No,
especially if they left the baby in England and the United States.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Or in America. I guess it's before the United States. But okay, well,
okay. That gives me my work to do. Got some work to cut out for me.
Okay, well, thanks a lot.
Thanks, James.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.